The forest was silent, too silent for a normal night. Even the wind moved slowly, as if afraid to touch the burned trees and the broken metal scattered across the ground. A thin trail of smoke rose from a crashed escape pod, glowing faint blue. In the darkness, inside that wreck, an alien woman lay still, her body half covered in dust and ash. Anyone who looked at her would think she was already gone. Evan, a young human traveler, stopped when he saw the crash site. He had been walking through the forest to avoid patrols, but the strange blue light caught his attention. He moved closer carefully, expecting danger, maybe soldiers, maybe something worse. But when he reached the broken pod, he froze. There she was. That a woman, unlike any human he had ever seen, skin glowing faint silver, hair dark as night, and strange marks like constellations running across her arms. She looked fragile, almost weightless. Her chest rose only once every few seconds. Her lips were pale, her hands were cold. She's dead, Evan whispered to himself. He had seen dead bodies before. The last few years of conflict taught him too much about loss. But something about her made him pause. Her body was damaged, but not in the way he expected. There were no burns, no broken bones. Instead, it looked like she had simply collapsed. Like her energy had been drained away. Evan knelt beside her and gently touched her wrist. No response. He reached to close her eyes, something he always did out of respect for the dead. But the moment his fingers brushed her skin, her eyelids twitched. Evan pulled back, shocked. He leaned closer. "Hey, can you hear me?" For a long moment, nothing happened. The forest stayed still. The smoke drifted. Evan almost believed he imagined it. Then slowly, painfully, the alien woman's fingers moved again. Her breathing quickened and her eyelashes fluttered. She was not dead. Her eyes opened. They were bright, glowing, and full of fear. She saw nothing clearly at first. Everything looked blurred and dark. She could only sense shapes, shadows, and movement. Her heart beat fast. She remembered running, screaming, the light, the explosion. She remembered losing everything. She remembered falling into darkness and believing it was the end. She expected the same end now. She expected a weapon pointed at her. She expected another attack. She expected the final moment of her life. But she did not expect this. A human man, dusty, tired, but gentle, was kneeling beside her. His face was soft, not sharp. His eyes were kind, not cruel. His posture showed concern, not aggression, and he was smiling. A small, calm smile. A smile meant to comfort, not harm. A smile she had never seen before, not from her own people, not from anyone. She blinked, confused. Her voice cracked as she tried to speak, but no words came out. Her throat burned. She wanted to push herself away, but her body refused to move. Evan lifted his hand slowly to show he meant no danger. "It's okay, you're safe. I'm not here to hurt you." She did not understand the language, but she understood the tone. Soft, warm, safe. It felt strange, almost unreal. Her eyes shifted, scanning the broken forest. Her escape pod was destroyed. Her people were gone. Her energy was weak. She was alone. She was helpless. Why? Why was this human helping her? Evan reached into his bag and took out a bottle of water. He opened it carefully and held it near her lips. She hesitated. No human had ever offered her anything except fear, but she was too weak to resist. She drank slowly, coughing at first, then breathing easier. Her eyes lifted toward his again. There was that smile, gentle, patient, almost protective. She did not know his name. She did not know where she was. She did not know why she was still alive. But she knew one thing. That smile somehow brought her back. Her vision blurred again as exhaustion pulled her down. But before she slipped into sleep, she whispered a question in her own language, one Evan could not understand. "Why, human, help me?" Her voice faded, her eyes closed again, but this time they did not close in death. They closed in hope. The alien woman woke again hours later, but this time she was no longer lying inside the broken escape pod. Soft fabric pressed against her back. A dim lantern flickered above her, hanging from an old wooden beam. The smell of earth and damp air surrounded her. She tried to move her hand, and pain shot through her arm. She was inside a cabin. A small, abandoned one hidden deep inside the forest. She panicked instantly. Her people taught her that humans never helped. Strangers, especially not aliens. Humans captured. Humans experimented. Humans feared anything different. She forced her weakened body upright and looked around wildly, expecting metal cages or restraints. But nothing like that was there. Just a small bed, a wooden table, and a thin blanket covering her. Then she heard footsteps. Her heart raced. She searched for something, anything to defend herself. Her hand found only a piece of torn cloth beside her. Useless. She tried to stand, but her knees trembled and she fell back onto the bed. The door opened quietly. The human man stepped. Evan. His clothes were dirty from the forest. His sleeves were rolled up. He carried a small bowl of warm water and a folded cloth. The moment he saw her awake, he stopped, as if not wanting to frighten her. For a long second, they both stared at each other, two beings from different worlds, neither knowing the other's intentions. Evan stepped forward slowly. "You're awake. Good, you needed rest." She did not understand his words, but she understood the calm tone. Still, her fear stayed strong. She pressed herself against the wall. Her breathing grew fast and sharp. She lifted her hands defensively, trying to show she was not weak, even though she clearly was. Evan immediately lowered his head slightly, like a peaceful gesture. He placed the bowl and cloth on a table and stepped back with open hands. "No harm," he said gently. "I won't hurt you." She watched every movement carefully. No aggression, no sudden steps, no weapons. Only that same gentle smile from before, soft, almost warm enough to melt fear. He pointed at the bowl, then at the wounds on her arms. He just wanted to clean them. Still unsure, she nodded very slightly. Evan approached slowly, sitting on the edge of the bed. The alien woman braced herself, expecting pain. When he touched her arm with the warm cloth, she flinched, but Evan paused, waiting for her to breathe again before continuing. He worked quietly, cleaning dust and strange glowing marks. The glow pulsed weakly with her heartbeat. Evan looked carefully, fascinated, but respectful. "You're hurt, but strong," he whispered to himself. She didn't know the words, but she felt the meaning. For the first time in a long time, someone was taking care of her. Not for use, not for capture, not for manipulation, but simply because she was hurt. Her eyes widened. She wanted to ask who he was, why he helped her, why he carried her away from the crash. Instead, only a few broken words escaped her lips. "Why, human? Save me?" Evan looked at her with surprise. She could speak barely. Even if he didn't understand her full meaning, he understood the fear in her voice. He placed a hand on his chest. Then he pointed gently at her. "You?" She hesitated. Her name felt fragile, like a secret that could bring danger. But something in his smile made her trust him just a little. "Lyra," she whispered. Evan smiled again. "Lyra. Safe now." Safe, a word she had never believed in. She swallowed hard, her eyes filling with confusion. Her world never used words like that. Her world used commands, warnings, and orders. Safety was a distant idea, something she saw only in dreams. Loud crunching sounds suddenly echoed from outside. Lyra tensed instantly. Evan reacted quickly, moving to the window and peeking through the broken shutter. His shoulders tightened. Someone was out there. Lyra's heartbeat raced. Her glowing marks brightened. She tried to stand, but her legs gave out beneath her. Evan rushed to catch her before she fell. She looked up at him, breath trembling. Her voice shook with terror. "They find me." Evan didn't understand the words, but he understood the fear. He gently pressed his finger to his lips, signaling silence. Then he pulled her toward the corner of the cabin, away from the door and windows. The footsteps outside grew louder. Lyra grabbed Evan's hand tightly. Evan squeezed back, his gentle smile gone but his determination strong. Whoever was outside was searching for her. And Evan had made a silent promise. He would not let them take her. The footsteps outside the cabin continued for several long minutes, moving slowly as if someone was searching carefully. Lyra held her breath. Evan kept himself between her and the door, listening with every muscle tense. The cabin walls were thin. Even a strong kick could break them apart. Lyra's glowing marks flickered in panic, but Evan placed a steady hand on her shoulder, silently telling her to stay calm. Finally, the footsteps faded into the forest. Evan waited a moment longer before exhaling. Lyra released her breath too, collapsing against the wall in exhaustion. Her body trembled, not only from fear, but from weakness. Every breath looked like an effort. Every blink seemed heavier. Evan knelt next to her. "They're gone. It's okay now." She did not understand the sentence, but she understood the feeling in his voice. He wasn't speaking like a commander barking orders. He was speaking softly like a friend. Lyra watched his lips move and wished she could understand every word. He offered her a small piece of bread. She stared at it suspiciously. Food from humans was always dangerous in her memories. But Evan broke the bread in half and ate a bite. Himself first, showing it was safe. Only then did she accept the rest. As she ate, she tried to study him. His hands were rough from work, his clothes torn from traveling, and his eyes tired. Yet every time she looked at him, she saw the same gentle expression. The expression that first brought her back to life. A simple human smile. She wanted to speak, to say something, to thank him, but her throat still ached. Evan noticed her struggle and brought her more water. She drank slowly, feeling warmth return to her chest. A strange silence settled between them, not uncomfortable, just new. Lyra finally whispered, "Evan?" He smiled. "Yes, that's me." She touched her chest lightly. "Lyra." Evan nodded, repeating softly, "Lyra." Her name sounded different in his voice, softer, warmer, almost as if he cared about saying it correctly. That tiny moment made something unfamiliar flutter in her chest. She had never heard her name spoken with kindness before. Night settled over the forest. Evan lit a small fire inside the cabin, careful not to let smoke escape through the broken roof. Lyra sat near the flame, warming her hands. Her glowing marks dimmed slowly as her fear lowered. Evan watched her for a while. He could see confusion. In her eyes, confusion and something else. Pain. A deep pain she did not speak of. "What happened to you?" he murmured without expecting an answer. But Lyra heard the emotion behind his voice, even if she couldn't understand the exact words. Her eyes drifted down, shadows crossing her face. Her people had left her. Her ship had exploded. She shouldn't be alive. Evan stood and walked to the shelf, pulling out a small book, the same one he used to teach children on the outskirts of town before war changed everything. He tore out a blank page and drew a simple human figure. He pointed at himself. "Evan," he said again. Then he drew another figure with glowing marks. "Lyra," he said, smiling gently. Her eyes widened. He was trying to communicate with her, not with fear, not with force, but with patience. She slowly reached for the pencil and drew a large circle hovering above the two figures. She pointed to it, then pointed to her chest. "Home," she whispered. Evan studied the drawing and the sadness in her voice. He nodded softly, even though he didn't know what her home looked like or what she had lost. Lyra looked into his eyes, searching for something. She saw honesty, something rare. She saw no hidden agenda, no intention to use her. Only concern. She whispered another word, her voice shaking. Why? Help. This time, Evan understood the meaning, even if the grammar was broken. He sat closer, letting the firelight show the kindness in his expression. He pointed at her, then at the bandages on her arms, then at the door where danger waited. You're hurt, he said gently. You're alone. Then he touched his chest. I couldn't leave you. She did not know the full meaning, but she understood the heart behind it. For the first time, she felt her eyes warm with tears. Not from pain, but from a strange feeling she had almost forgotten existed. Trust. The fire cracked softly. Night grew deeper. And in the quiet cabin, Lyra whispered the first words she truly understood since waking. Thank you. Evan's smile widened, gentle, warm, and full of the humanity she had been taught to fear. That smile was becoming her new anchor in this strange world. A smile she would soon discover was the only thing standing between her and the danger. Closing in. Morning arrived quietly, but the silence felt wrong. Even before Lyra opened her eyes, she sensed danger in the air. Her glowing marks throbbed faintly, warning her the way a storm warns birds before lightning strikes. She sat up slowly, wincing at the pain in her ribs. Evan had already woken. He stood near the window, peeking through a crack in the wooden frame. His jaw was tight, and he hadn't touched his food. Lyra noticed the worry on his face immediately. What? Wrong? She asked in broken English. Evan turned to her. He didn't know how much she understood, but he pointed to the forest outside. Someone's out there, looking, searching. Lyra's blood froze. They come, she whispered. For me. Evan didn't know the story, but her fear told him everything. Whoever wanted her was close and dangerous. He walked to her and handed her a small coat. We need to move. We can't stay here. Lyra tried to stand, but her legs shook. Evan helped her, his arms supporting her weight without hesitation. Even weak, even terrified, she felt a warmth in her chest every time he was near. But the danger outside grew louder. A heavy engine rumbled in the distance, a vehicle, maybe two. Then came the metallic hum of a scanning drone passing above the trees. Evan and Lyra both froze. The drone's red light slid across the cabin roof. Lyra's marks glowed bright in response, reacting to the scanning energy. She immediately covered her arms, her breath shaking. Evan gently pulled her deeper into the cabin's shadow. The drone hovered, paused, and moved on, but only for the moment. Evan whispered, We have to leave now. Lyra nodded weakly. He grabbed his small backpack, filled it with whatever supplies he could find: water, bandages, a flashlight, and the map of old forest trails. Then he looked at Lyra. She looked fragile, but there was strength in her eyes. A quiet strength. A strength born from surviving things she never spoke of. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Ready? She didn't understand the word, but she understood the question. She nodded. Evan opened the back door, the old wood groaning softly. Cold morning air kissed their faces. The forest felt alive, watching them, breathing around them, whispering warnings. They stepped out quietly, but they didn't get far. A sudden blast shook the ground, boom, echoing across the trees. Lyra gasped and clung to Evan. Evan grabbed her hand tighter. Smoke rose from somewhere close. The hunters were using explosives to clear search paths. They close. Lyra whispered, trembling. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the forest, mechanical, amplified, and cold. Scan Sector 8, target is injured. Do not let her escape. It was not her people's voice. It was human military tech. Evan's heart dropped. They weren't only after her, they would take him too if they found him helping her. Lyra's legs weakened again. Evan caught her. She whispered something in her language, fearful, desperate. Evan couldn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. Leave me. Save yourself. He shook his head sharply. No, I'm not leaving you. Lyra's eyes widened at his firmness. No one had ever refused to abandon her before. Not even her own people. The forest grew colder. The air buzzed again as another drone approached. Evan pulled Lyra behind a fallen tree, crouching low. The drone scanned the area with a bright blue grid. Lyra's marks flickered dangerously, reacting again. The drone slowed. Evan swallowed. Don't glow. Don't glow, he whispered. Lyra clenched her fists, trying to force the energy back into her skin. Sweat dripped from her forehead. Her body shook with the effort. The drone hovered. It scanned the fallen tree. It paused, then flew away. Lyra collapsed, panting. Evan held her steady. You okay? He whispered, brushing her hair away. From her face, she stared at him with a mixture of shock and gratitude. Why, help Lyra? You, danger too. Evan smiled softly, even in the face of fear. Because you needed someone. Her chest tightened. That smile again, gentle, brave. Impossible to ignore. A smile that made her believe she wasn't a burden. She wasn't alone. She wasn't unwanted. A smile that gave her hope. But the moment of peace was short. A radio crackled nearby. Voices approached through the forest. Drone detected unusual. Energy pulse in Sector D. Move in, spread out. The target is close. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm in panic. Evan lifted her to her feet. Come on, he whispered. We run together. And so they did, two fugitives in a world that wanted them apart, running into a forest filled with danger, with only one thing keeping them alive. A human's gentle smile. And an alien woman's growing trust. Evan and Lyra moved deeper into the forest until the sound of engines faded behind them. The trees grew thicker, darker, and quieter. The sun tried to break through the branches, but even its light felt cautious. Lyra leaned heavily on Evan's arm. Every step looked painful. Her breath came in short, uneven bursts. Finally, Evan found a small clearing near a fallen log. He gently lowered Lyra onto the soft moss. Rest just for a minute. Lyra nodded, though her eyes stayed alert. Her glowing marks had faded again, but faint sparks flashed each time fear touched her thoughts. Evan sat beside her, trying to understand the situation. He had helped strangers before, but never someone hunted by soldiers, never someone from another world. He looked at her quietly. Lyra, why are they after you? She stared at the ground. Her hands trembled. For a long time she didn't speak. Evan didn't push her. He waited patiently, the same way he waited for frightened children to trust him back when he taught at the settlement. After a long silence, Lyra whispered, Lyra. Not normal. Evan frowned gently. What do you mean? She touched one of the glowing marks on her arm. The mark responded with a soft pulse, almost like it was alive. Evan watched carefully, fascinated. Lyra continued in broken English. My people. Fear this. Fear. Me. Evan felt something tighten in his chest. Why would they fear you? Lyra looked at him with sad, tired eyes. Inside me. Power. Not weapon. Not meant to hurt. But strong. Dangerous if wrong hands take it. Evan understood enough to feel the weight of her fear. She wasn't just a refugee. She wasn't just injured. She carried something her own people feared, something worth chasing, capturing, maybe even destroying. Is that why your ship crashed? Evan asked softly. Lyra shook her head, tears filling her eyes. No, my people. Leave me, push me away. They say I risk to them. Evan felt his breath catch. They abandoned you? She nodded slowly. They escape. They close door. Leave me to fire. Her voice cracked. I think. I die. Evan's fists clenched in anger, not at her, but at the cruelty she suffered. He moved closer, but carefully, giving her space to pull away if she needed it. "You didn't deserve that," he said gently. Lyra blinked. "Deserve? It means you didn't do anything wrong." Lyra stared at him as if she had never heard that idea before. To her people, she was a danger. To the humans chasing her, she was a target. But to Evan, she was just someone who needed help. The warmth of his words made her chest ache. Not from pain, but from something deeper, something like hope. Evan looked at her glowing marks again. "Is that power hurting you?" Lyra touched her chest. "Hurts when scared. Hurts when hunted." She hesitated. "Power protect. Power shield. But power also call hunters. They feel it." Evan now understood why the drones found them so easily. Lyra's power wasn't just inside her, it radiated when she felt strong emotions, fear, pain, panic, and she had felt all three since waking up. He reached out and placed his hand gently over hers. "You're safe with me, Lyra. I won't let anyone take you." Lyra's glowing marks brightened softly, not with fear, but with something gentle. Her body relaxed for the first time since her eyes opened in the crash. She whispered, "Human. Kind. Not like stories." "What stories?" Evan asked. Lyra hesitated. "Stories say humans cruel. Humans hurt. Humans destroy." She looked into his eyes. "But you." "Smile." Evan felt a small, embarrassed laugh escape him. "I didn't know my smile could change so much." Lyra shook her head softly. "It saved me." Before Evan could speak, a sudden crack echoed through the forest like a branch snapping under a boot. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm in fear. Evan quickly extinguished the small lantern and crouched low. Another crack. Then another. Voices. Human voices. Close. Lyra's marks flickered, but Evan covered her hands. "Stay calm," he whispered. "We'll get through this." She tried to control her breathing. Tried not to glow. Tried to trust him. More footsteps. Closer. Searching. Lyra looked at Evan, whispering a single terrified word. "Run?" Evan shook his head. "Not yet. They're too close." He pulled her behind the fallen log, just as a flashlight beam cut through the trees. Soldiers moved into the clearing, scanning the ground, checking for footprints. Lyra pressed herself against Evan's chest, trembling. Evan wrapped his arm around her protectively, his heartbeat steady against her ear. Her people abandoned her. The humans hunted her. But this one man held her like she mattered. And for the first time, she believed she did. The soldiers moved slowly through the clearing, their flashlights slicing through the trees like sharp white knives. Lyra pressed closer to Evan, her breath shaking, her glowing marks flickering like frightened stars. Evan wrapped one arm around her shoulders, steadying her, silently begging her body not to reveal their hiding place. One soldier knelt down and touched the moss. "Fresh footprints," he said. "2 sets. One heavy, one light." Lyra's eyes widened. Evan felt her panic rising and whispered softly, "It's okay. Stay with me. Don't glow." But fear was a fire in her veins. Her marks brightened again, struggling to hide the power inside her. She dug her fingers into Evan's jacket, trying to hold it back. A second soldier pointed toward the fallen log. "Check behind there." Evan acted instantly. He pulled Lyra close, whispered, "Trust me," and slid them both deeper under the log, into a narrow hollow barely wide enough for two. It was dark, cold, and filled with dirt, but it was their only chance. The soldiers approached. Boots thudded on the ground directly above their heads. Dust rained down. Lyra squeezed her eyes shut, shaking so hard Evan feared the soldiers would hear her heart. A flashlight beam swept across the log. Lyra's marks glowed brighter this time. Evan covered her arms with his hands, hiding the light beneath his sleeves. He pressed his forehead gently to hers. "Look at me," he whispered. Lyra opened her eyes. They were filled with terror. "You're safe," he said. "Focus on me. Just me." His voice, his warmth, his nearness steadied her. For a moment, her glow softened. The soldiers paused. One tapped the log with his boot. "Nothing here. Move on." Lyra almost collapsed with relief as their footsteps faded. Even Evan let out a quiet breath, though his hand still trembled slightly. They waited until the forest fell silent again before Evan crawled out and helped Lyra up. She was shaking badly, her strength close to breaking. "Evan," she whispered weakly. Dangerous for you. They kill you if you stay." Evan shook his head. "I'm not leaving." Lyra looked at him with heartbreak. "You don't understand. My power calls them. When I'm afraid, it grows. They follow it. They use machines to feel it." Evan wiped dirt from her cheek. "Then we keep moving before they find us again. But why?" Lyra asked softly. "Why risk your life for me?" Evan paused, breathing deeply. He had asked himself that same question many times that day, but the answer always came easily. "Because you were left to die," he said. "And no one deserves that. Not you. Not anyone." Lyra's throat tightened. No one had ever said she deserved life. No one had ever cared if she lived or died, but Evan did. Before she could respond, a distant roar shook the ground. "Search vehicles." Many of them. The sound grew louder by the second. Lyra grabbed Evan's arm. "They come." "Evan, go." But Evan's eyes hardened with determination. "No, we go together." He pulled her into the trees again, moving fast despite her weakness. Branches whipped past them. The forest grew darker. Smoke from the searchlights made the air heavy. Lyra stumbled, falling to her knees. Her marks exploded with light stronger than ever. A wave of energy rippled through the ground, shaking leaves from branches. Evan stared in shock. "Lyra, what is happening?" She clasped her hands tightly. "Power react to fear. I can't control when scared. It protect me, but also reveal me." The roar of engines grew closer. Drones swooped in above them, scanning the ground with increasingly aggressive energy pulses. Lyra's glow practically answered them, calling them like a beacon. A pulse blasted the ground nearby. Dirt exploded upward, throwing Evan and Lyra back. Lyra cried out in pain. Evan scrambled to her side and shielded her with his body. "Stop glowing. They'll lock onto us." "I can't," she cried. Power too strong. Then Evan did something she never expected. He took her face in his hands, warm, steady, human. "Lyra," he whispered, his forehead touching hers. "Look at me." Not at them, me. Her glow flickered. "Breathe with me." Her breath slowed. "You're not alone." Her glow dimmed. "I'm right here." Her glow softened to a gentle pulse. The drone scanners suddenly lost focus. They scattered, recalibrating. The vehicles halted, confused. Evan held her close until her trembling stopped. For a moment, everything went quiet. Lyra stared at him, tears falling over her glowing marks. "Evan, why?" she whispered again. He smiled, soft, calm, the smile that first brought her back from death. "Because I choose you," he said. Those 4 words hit her harder than any explosion. Her people rejected her. The humans hunted her. The world feared her. But this man made a choice to protect her, to stand with her, to risk everything for her. And that choice changed everything. The forest no longer felt like a forest. It felt like a battlefield waiting to happen. The sky above darkened as heavy clouds rolled in, hiding the early morning sun. Evan and Lyra stood beneath tall trees, their breaths visible in the cold air. The distant engines were growing louder again, an entire hunt closing in from every direction. Lyra held her hands close to her chest. Her glowing marks pulsed with fear, but softer now, Evan's touch still calming the storm inside her. Yet she knew the danger was not over. Her power, her gift, her curse, was too strong to hide forever. "We can't run forever," Evan said, his voice quiet but steady. Lyra lowered her head. "I know." Evan looked at her carefully. "Is there a way to stop your power? Just for a moment?" Lyra hesitated. "Only if I feel safe. Truly safe. Powers sleep when heart calm." Her voice trembled. "But world never calm for me." Evan stepped closer and gently took her hand. "Then let me help you feel safe." Those words made her knees weak. Before she could answer, the soldiers' voices echoed between the trees. "Sector E. Heat signature detected. Target is close. Move in. Prepare containment." Lyra's glow burst bright in terror. Evan cupped her face again, guiding her to look only at him. "Lyra, listen. You saved both of us earlier. You can do it again." She breathed deeply, but her fear fought back. "Evan, they hurt you because of me." "Maybe," Evan said with a faint smile, "but I'm still here." His smile, gentle, warm, unbroken, pushed her power back under her skin. The glow dimmed again, but the hunters were too close. Branches snapped. Lights flashed. Dozens of soldiers entered the clearing, surrounding them. Drones hovered overhead, humming like angry insects. Lyra gasped and grabbed Evan's arm. A commander stepped forward, metal armor reflecting the drone's light. "Human male," he barked. "Step away from the alien." Evan did not move. Lyra whispered desperately, "Go. Please. Go. They spare you." But Evan only squeezed her hand tighter. "No," he said. The commander raised his weapon. "This is your final warning." Lyra pushed Evan behind her and raised her hands, her glow flaring uncontrollably. "Stop, no hurt, Evan. Take me, not him." Her body lit like a rising star, bright enough to force the soldiers back. Drones buzzed wildly as their scanners overloaded. Evan reached out, afraid the power would burn her from the inside. "Lyra!" he shouted over the roaring energy. "Stop, don't give yourself up." "I must," she cried. "If they take me, you live. But I don't want to live without you." Her glow froze mid-air, mid-burst, mid-terror. Those words hit her heart harder than any weapon. Her light softened. Her breath shook. And slowly, her power changed shape, not wild, not dangerous, but protective. A soft shield formed around them like a bubble of shimmering air. The soldiers fired. The bullets hit the shield and melted into sparks. The commander yelled, "What is this?" "She's evolving. Contain her now." Lyra fell to her knees. "Evan, shield won't hold." Evan knelt beside her and held her face gently. "Look at me, Lyra. Don't look at them." Her glow stabilized, soft and silver. "Your power listens to your heart," he whispered. "So let it listen now." Lyra closed her eyes and leaned into him. For the first time in her life, her heart felt calm. Because someone stayed with her, believed in her, chose her. Her shield grew stronger. The soldiers' weapons struggled. "Drones malfunctioned. Retreat!" The commander shouted. "The target is not stable. Retreat!" Within seconds, the forest emptied. Engines roared away. Drones scattered. The hunt stopped, not because she fought, but because she finally controlled her power. Because she wasn't afraid. When the last sound faded, Lyra collapsed into Evan's arms, exhausted but alive. Her glow dimmed back to a soft, peaceful shimmer. Evan held her tightly. "You did it. Lyra, you really did it." Lyra looked up at him, tears shining. "Evan, your smile saved me." Again, he brushed a tear from her cheek. "And you saved both of us." Her head rested against his chest, listening to his heartbeat, steady, calm, human. a sound she now trusted more than anything. In the quiet forest, two beings from different worlds held each other, wrapped not in fear, but in something new: safety, belonging, hope. Lyra whispered, "What now?" Evan smiled softly, the same smile that brought her back from death. "Now, we find a future, together." And for the first time since her eyes opened in the wreckage, Lyra believed she had one.